primary education trends in emerging markets are important because they're part of a wider trend of improving education standards in emerging markets as a whole. So increased uptake of primary education translates to uptake of secondary and then tertiary education, translating into more of the population in better paying sectors, more sophisticated sectors, and creating higher incomes and opportunities for consumer goods companies. So we've identified 3 key trends in primary education in emerging markets. The first is that governments in emerging markets are increasingly prioritising primary education as a means to boost their labour productivity and competitiveness against other markets. And this is really manifesting itself in a rise in primary schools, primary school teachers, and a boost in the number of primary school pupils, and creating lots of opportunities for any kind of companies that are involved in the education sector. The second is an increased prioritisation of female education. So back in 1999, there was around 91 female students enrolled in emerging markets for every 100 boys. This has now risen to around 97, so it's catching up. In the long term, this is going to mean more affluent female consumers, again creating opportunities for consumer goods companies that target women. And the third and final trend is rising expenditure on education in emerging markets in PPP terms, so purchasing power parity terms. And this is being driven firstly by the first trend that we talked about, governments investing more, but also being driven by consumers. So in the long term, this is going to close the gap eventually between the skills gap between developed and emerging markets, and make emerging markets more attractive prospects for foreign direct investment.